It's time for your weekly dose of nostalgia with the 80s and 90s Uncensored. I am Milo Dennison.
And I'm Jamie Fenderson, and today we're talking about the cheesiest cartoons. And to help us do that, we have Cade from Cartoon Commotion. Insert applause. Cade, I have to tell you something. When I watch your YouTube channel, when I watch your analysis of cartoons, I do eat cereal.
Oh, perfect. What other way is there to do it, man?
I do, but I love it. So tell us about your channel. Tell us about your work and how you got into it. You're just creating a cartoon commotion out here, bro.
I do my best to create a cartoon commotion. Okay, hiya homies, friendos. Thank you bunches for having me here, Jamie and Milo. I'm so totally stoked to dig into this cheesy topic with you both. To everyone listening, I am Cade, your new favorite cartoon weirdo, and oh yeah, yep, that's my co-host and best bud in the whole wide world. That's Jiggy the Piggy, my radically talented banjo-playing pet pig. Together we rewind with you to the red tunes of the 80s and 90s, exploring their depth and value in our lives today. And we have a lot of fun doing that too. We stream live twice a month on Facebook and YouTube, and we also have an audio-only version of the show. And sometimes we throw in a bonus episode here and there. Previously, we've taken a look at how Gem and the Holograms was actually about selfishness, and the Tick teaches us to embrace an unusual path, and what the term real really means in the real Ghostbusters. There's so much more on the way, so keep it locked, because we're gearing up for loads more commotion. But we can't have a cartoon commotion without you. Thanks for having me here, guys. I'm really excited.
Nice.
I love how you get deep into the cartoon. Like cartoons, you think are just kind of surface, but you go deep, bro. You go like there's some real stuff in these cartoons that need to be uncovered, and that's what you're doing.
Oh man, I can't wait to get into Thundercats because they actually hired a psychiatrist to work on the episodes of Thundercats.
Oh yeah, we've talked about Thundercats quite a bit on this series.
We talked about Milo's convinced that Mumra is the good guy because his planet was, it's this ancient planet. Maybe he's the only inhabitant, but it was invaded by aliens, and he's just trying to protect himself and his planet.
Yeah, I actually did listen to that episode, and I have some thoughts, but I was thinking about doing a little episode and maybe addressing that sometime. Maybe do a little cross promotion shout out. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'll be
We
awesome.
can have a deep discussion about the merits of Mumra's self-defense. I totally dig
defending the future Earth.
Oh, that poor innocent mummy.
I know.
So misunderstood. Well, today we're going to talk about cheesy 80s cartoons. So we've each brought a few cheesy 80s cartoons that we will pitch to see which is the cheesiest, I guess. Who wants to go first?
Why don't we give Cade the honor? I want to see what, I just want to guess some of his cheese.
The cartoon
wanna
expert.
guess?
I want to guess some of that cheese.
You want to guess the levels of cheese?
Yeah, let's find
Okay.
out. All right.
That's exciting. So the whole reason I thought we should do this episode is because the cartoons in the 1980s, they can get really cheesy sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with cheddar because cheddar makes it better, right?
It does.
The goal is not to put down the cartoons for how cheesy they were, but to highlight that because it's an essential part of what made them so charming and memorable. The first tune I picked was A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Hanna-Barbera, they were trying to put a kid spin on their tunes in the 80s. They did it a lot. Something I'd like to call the kidification of Hanna-Barbera. I think you might want to work that into your lingo there. Kidification.
Kidification. I'm feeling it.
Someday I might whip up a bonus episode on that, but for now, we got to talk about The Pup Named Scooby-Doo. It aired September 10th of 1988, and it lasted for 3 seasons. And just a small tangent here, I actually was really only 3 seasons? Because it feels longer. When I was growing up with this show, it felt like it ran a lot longer than 3. It's crazy. But anyway, it's got to be the cheesiest Scooby-Doo spin they've ever churned out, man. None of the Scooby gang, except maybe Velma, had more than half a brain cell. And and I actually loved this as a kid. Okay, I'm not trashing it. I this show was how a lot of kids in the 80s discovered Scooby-Doo, besides like reruns of the OG stuff. Fred was always blaming a boy named Red Herring for literally everything. It was a joke clearer than Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
It was sort of lame, but you couldn't help but laughing. And man, this borrowed a ton of visual gags from their Tom and Jerry days. It was all wonky, nonstop, over the top facial expressions and wacky toon antics. It bent the rules of physics way more than in Scooby's 1969 cartoon. There's a specific episode I want to highlight though. This was one where they were seriously up against a literal cheese monster. Episode 3 wanted cheddar alive. Could you hear the pun in that, Jamie?
I got it.
There's an unexplainable cheese monster, literally unexplainable, terrorizing the Scooby Snack Factory, and it's totally obvious that Larry Acme from Acme Dog Biscuits is the dude in the monster suit. He's on TV basically like plotting to his evil ways, and they don't know until the end, of course. And the baddie of Scooby-Doo is always pretty clear, but in this series, they really stood out like a sore thumb. Then they would actually ask the kids watching if they knew who the monster was. Like, do you know all the clues? At one moment, Scooby and Velma in this episode use Shaggy to sniff for clues because apparently Scooby's nose wouldn't work without Scooby's snacks.
Oh no.
The cheesiest bit was when Daphne easily escaped the monster's ropes because they were tied up. They were all tied up, and she just stood up and walked off. She was like, "That's it, I'm leaving because my skirt's getting wrinkled."
Oh.
Daphne, she's so shallow.
And I guess, that's a legit enough reason to split, right? But Scooby actually ate the monster's cheese costume, leaving nothing but the headpiece because it was literally made from cheese.
Oh, so it wasn't just a fake cheese outfit. It was real cheese.
It was like he climbed out of a vat of cheese or something, and he was made of the cheese. So I give this episode 4 cheese monsters out of 5 because it didn't have enough cheese puns. Well, I mean, okay, so Shaggy did say that the cops could grill him.
Oh,
that's good. That's a good cheese pun. Yeah,
unless you don't know you can't grill cheese, you can. But if you don't know that, well.
But in all fairness, who doesn't know that you can grill cheese? Who doesn't know that? So, like a grilled cheese sandwich, that's a nice cheesy touch. But that's my first pick: cheddar or cheddar alive.
Cheddar alive, and it was literally cheesy.
Literally. I mean, I remember this episode pretty fondly. I mean, going back and rewatching it for this conversation, I was just like, man, I remember like this. I don't know if they just played this on repeat, but I saw this episode probably more than any other episode in the series.
All right, Jamie, what do you got?
The one I'm going with, I forgot this was a 90s one, but I'm going to go with it anyway because it's as cheesy as far as I'm concerned. It's as cheesy as it can get, and I can break the rules on my show, right? So I'm going to go for this. It's 1991. It's called Yo Yogi.
Oh, it's another kidification.
Yeah, because Yogi now, he's a teenager instead of an adult bear. He's a teenager bear, and then he's hanging out, but he's a crime fighter. But he hangs out in Jellystone Mall with Boo Boo and Cindy Bear and Snagglepuss, but they're cool like mall people. And the Ranger Smith, he's not a ranger there, he's a mall cop. He's a security guard. So he's this teenager Yogi who's hanging out at the mall, and his like nemesis is the mall cop. I think it's just cheese. Like I declare this Limburger.
Oh,
I declare this Limburger because this is like one of those late 80s, early 90s. Hey, we're going to turn this like 60s, 70s cartoon into a teenager, and they're going to hang out in the mall and ride skateboards because it's like the 80s and 90s and they're cool now, right? everything's cool and to the max.
Yo, Yogi.
Yo, Yogi. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up, Yogi? So I don't know if I have I like how you're like putting like you got specific cheese episodes. I don't have that, but I will say that this is pretty cheese when you like turn a classic cartoon character into like this cool 90s teenager and he hangs out at a mall instead of a park. Like when he grew up, he was a teenager, used to hang out at the mall and fight crime, but then he just became a bum in the park.
I just wonder where they get the angle of fighting crime. Like, why
Yeah,
is
how
he a
much
crime
crime is
fighter?
there at a mall as well? Like,
Well,
is
and
there
you
a lot of
already
crime at
have
malls?
Ranger Smith anyway. Isn't it his job to fight crime at the mall? Like,
Yeah,
come on.
he's the mall cop.
So that's pretty cheese. I declare that Limburger. It's super cheese. Yo, Yogi.
Like, if he's not taking picnic baskets, what is he taking from the mall?
Yes.
That's what I
See,
want to know.
yeah, I
I
think
want to
he's-
rewatch it just to figure that out.
He's probably stealing watches and handbags and stuff, and then he finally got caught and like thrown in the park, and now he's just got to get it. Now when he grows up, he just does a naked bear who's got to steal picnic baskets for
Well,
food.
what if he
'cause he's
took
a
what if he
bum.
took like food from the food court? He could do that.
Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
a bear in the mall doing that.
Like the
Yeah.
McDonald's has those bags. He could take Happy Meals.
Yeah,
Yeah, cheeseburger Happy Meals.
that's right.
Ooh.
Quarter pounder with cheese Happy Meals.
The quarter
Right,
pounder
Milo,
with
how about
cheese.
you, buddy? What do you got?
So I'm going full on cheesiness with mine, and that is Gilligan's Planet.
Oh yes.
So this ran for just one season in 1982 for a total of 13 episodes. Gilligan's Island, as we all know, a bunch of castaways stranded on the island. And of course, they spend the series trying to get off the island by building boats, by flagging off planes. Yet somehow, out of wood and coconuts and whatever else, they managed to build a rocket ship that they pile into, and they fly out of the Earth's atmosphere into space and then get lost in space and end up on another planet. So they, of course, now are stranded on a planet trying to get back to Earth. And typical, Gilligan's Island hijinks happen, and they manage to buddy up with like a little green. He's like a little green. He looks like basically like a baby dinosaur thing that becomes their little pet. And all of the cast reprise their voices for the series, except for Tina Louise. She basically tried to distance herself from
Cartoon Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, from Gilligan's Island in general. Like, she didn't do the Rescue from Gilligan's Island or anything like that. They actually had a different girl do it. So in this, Dawn Wells, who plays Ginger, Dawn Wells, who plays Marianne, also does the voice of Ginger. It's crazy cheesy because it was cheesy enough when it was on a lonely island on the planet Earth. Now they're on an alien planet. And so, yeah, I'm going 5 out of 5 cheese wheels on this one. I don't know how we're going with our cheese ratings, but
That's great.
Swiss cheese, I guess, because the planet's got holes in it.
I'm just imagining like they can construct a working rocket.
Yeah. Out of wood.
They couldn't fix a hole in a boat.
Couldn't
We
fix
can't
a hole in a
in
boat.
that, but even the professor can't do that. But
Those
we could build a rocket out of coconuts.
Can build a
Those
rocket. Yeah.
poor cursed people.
Yeah.
They were
It's
totally
ridiculous.
cursed.
And it has a laugh track too. So like if you
Oh
watch
no.
it, you're like,
I'm sure it
laugh
needs
track
it.
in an animated series. All right.
Yeah, laugh tracks had some cheese like in and of themselves, because like I mean, the Flintstones. Like I mean, that's kind of. I mean, would you say that's where it basically started?
And definitely for animated series. I don't know if any did the Jetsons have a laugh track?
I think some of it did,
Mhm.
because that's actually a case all in and of itself. A portion of that show started in the 80s.
Oh.
And a good portion of that show, 13 episodes of that, the first season, was in the 60s. So that's a whole nother case study. I mean,
All right.
All right, Kays, drop the cheese on us, bro.
I'm next. Okay. Denver the Last Dinosaur. You guys, do you guys remember the
Yeah.
theme song?
Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. Yeah, I do.
Of course, Jamie knows the theme song.
Of course I do.
Milo doesn't know the theme song.
No.
I
Wasn't
have
he like
a
little, like a baby dinosaur, right? Like a little kid dinosaur, no?
No, that's I think that's literally dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he's he's a little bigger than the teenagers themselves, but he's
Yeah.
like a teenager dinosaur.
I mean, he's
Kinda.
okay. So like he's hatched from an egg, so it's kind of it's hard.
He can play the guitar though, like he can rock. So
Don't think too long on the age of the dinosaur. So Denver actually it aired in 1988, also just like a pup named Scooby-Doo, but it only had 2 seasons. Its cheese is its strongest quality, I would have to say. That this tune is so weirdly charming. It'll take you right back to the 80s. This cartoon is all about a group of boys that discover a dinosaur, Denver. They befriend him and name him, and then it's just literally them hanging out, learning, and keeping Denver safe and alive, hiding their secret from any dudes that might try to take advantage of the dino somehow. One of the cheesiest episodes is season 2, episode 13, and that opens with the boys planning to make Denver a part of their rock and roll talent show act. Denver tries to cheer up their nerdy friend Freddie because okay. I preference this with like, I cannot believe that that this just slipped him by all these years. He just woke up one day and realized that he is a nerd. And
what?
Yeah, he looked in the mirror, he saw the glasses, he saw the complexion. Nerd. That's what he was. He says that's who I am. And I guess he just hit a zone of self-awareness that wasn't there before. So then he built his own robot band, and because
that's what you do if you're a nerd.
Denver suggested, I guess, that he become popular because he's like, look at this magazine. Now Denver can't talk, so he's just literally pointing at the magazine of the cool guy, and he's like, ugh, ugh. And Freddy's like, oh yeah, I'll just try to be popular. That would solve all my problems. The 2 reoccurring bad guys, though, a rock promoter named Fizzback and a mad scientist named Funt, set out to use his robot band to make big bucks at the talent show. One of the cheesiest moments was when the mad scientist Funt is asked that if he could actually play the accordion, which controls these robots, and he turns to Fizzback and he says, "Well, all scientists can play the accordion," which makes a lot of sense.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Another major cheese moment was when the nerd got so depressed. Freddy, he didn't want to be around people, so they drug him around in a little red wagon. He was kind of a drag. He has whiny ways of saying things that could make you cringe. Literally, like just
That's pretty cringy.
Even if he was just saying normal things like, I don't want to be a nerd anymore. He was probably one of my least favorite characters out of a ton of characters that were almost all alike in this series. But he also, in a major ironic way, I still laugh about the nerd crying the way that he does every time I think about this show. So it's not like it was so bad that it wasn't good again. It's just cheesy good. And for that reason, I give this one 3 out of 5 wagons loaded with cheese. And that's more than enough cheese to go around.
Yeah, I like that series.
I don't remember that at all. Don't remember.
Oh, I remember
at
it.
all.
I mean, yeah, and it was very 80s. The dinosaur joined their rock band and off and play the guitar, and he was their buddy. He just happened to be a dinosaur.
You can get the whole show on DVD now, so you can find it on Amazon, and it's worth it just for the cheese alone, man.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
I think it probably smells like cheese too, like the DVD package. Take a whiff.
As long as it's not Limburger.
Yeah. My next cartoon, this is an 80s cartoon. It's called Turbo Teen. Do you guys remember Turbo Teen?
So man, I cannot watch a clip of this without cringing.
Yeah.
Like literally, like just it makes me a little nauseous, just a little
It's
bit.
a little strange. It's kind of bizarre. So there's a thunderstorm, and this teenager named Brett Matthews gets into a car accident in this secret laboratory, and the weird sciencey stuff fuses him to the car so that he can become a car if he wants to, and then turn back into a teenager. So of course, he fights crime because that's what you do when you can turn into a car, right?
Right.
And I always thought, so he's got his friends, Patty and Alex, and he's got a dog named Rusty, and they gonna go on adventures. And when shizzle hits the fan, he just like gonna turn into a car now. And the whole sequence of him turning into a car is like kind of bizarre and grotesque.
It's like body horror.
It's like body horror.
Yeah.
Like they could remake this if they did a live action thing. It would be maybe like a rated R thing. Like it's like if you change into a werewolf, like you're turned into a werewolf. He kind of like that. His eyes start to turn into the lights, and it's kind of like a werewolf movie. Like it's kind of bizarre. So it gets some cheese wheels for sure.
4 of them because it's a car.
Yeah. No, 5 because you include the steering wheel.
Oh, loophole.
So 5 cheese wheels for Turbo Teen.
Right.
Very strange show.
I'm thinking about though, like the transformation, like his mouth like almost becomes the grill of the car.
Yeah, and his eyes kind of become the headlights. And
yeah,
I always thought they should do kind of maybe a reboot of this, but maybe a TVMA thing, and like they could have CGI, and he's just like he's always in pain, and as he's turning into the car, and it's kind of like
it's terrifying.
I think
terrifying.
I think they should do it like a reboot, like a TVMA CGI reboot kind of thing. I should do it.
I was saving Turbo Teen for a very special Cartoon Commotion experience. I was gonna do something about the cringiest cartoons or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll look forward to that because that's definitely worth it. So there's my pick.
All right. Well, my next one involves characters that look like cheese, and that is Pac-Man the cartoon. They did 42 episodes of it starting in 1982, and it was literally the first video game turned cartoon animated series. And you've got little circular guys that look like cutout wheels of cheese running around. They live in a world that is circular, cheese-like circular. They eat power pellets, basically cheese puffs. And what's funny is like the whole concept of the whole show, there's really nothing to it. It's everybody's just trying to get the power pellets. You've got the ghosts trying to get the power pellets. You got Pac-Man, and then he gets the power pellets, and then he eats the ghosts, and then their little 2 eyeballs just float away, and then they come back. And like the episodes are kind of weird too, because I was watching one, and it's literally like Pac-Man and his kid go fishing, and they've got a dog which is called Chomp Chomp, and they've got a cat that's called Sourpuss, and they take Chomp Chomp fishing, and like the little fish are trying to go in after little baby power pellets, and then the ghosts are trying to sneak up onto Pac-Man, and the ghosts are just super stupid, and it's a ridiculous show. Yet like it was on for a long time. They had 2 primetime specials, the Pac-Man Halloween special and the Christmas special.
Wow.
Yeah, it just, if you watch it, you're like, this is dumb as all get out. Like
so what's your rating on that?
Oh, you got to go all out. Well, I give Gilly, I can't go 5 out of 5 on all of them. So actually,
it can't be cheesier than Gilligan, bro.
It can't be. And to be honest, it is what it says it is. So I'm actually going to go 3 out of 5. I'm going to go 3 Havardis out of 5.
I got you. That was great. I was thinking back to it because like I know that the pellets kind of they sort of power the city, if I'm right.
Everything is powered by the pellets. Yeah, they power the city. They eat them. And it's weird like how you get them, because there's trees that grow them. There's like all these different ways to get power pellets. It's
Kind of like the opium wars.
Yeah,
Like
basically everybody's after power pellets, and
the
they power
British
everything.
came and addicted everybody to these pellets. They just run everything. Like,
Yep.
Well, I'm thinking like he's eating their power supply. That is definitely something that requires deeper investigation.
How can everything run on this one thing?
all right, Cade, cheese us up.
Okay, my third and final choice is the one and only Mr. T cartoon. This premiered on September 17th, 1983, and it was basically Mr. T as a gymnastics coach taking a gang of kids around for tours and competitions and stuff. And in between, they'd somehow stumble upon a mystery like Scooby-Doo. Some of these episodes were really well written, but they would have been better as Scooby-Doo episodes, in my opinion. And others were really ultra cheesy and just made me smile because it made a larger than life personality like Mr. T's even larger, and it was already epic from the start. It was the ultimate Mr. T cheese experience, and I loved it for that. For instance, episode 7, the Ninja Mystery, that's what it's called. The Ninja Mystery. A stuntman posed as a ninja starts terrorizing a New York hotel, and the team just so happened to be staying there. Mr. T figured out that this dude was actually a pirate, a ninja that's actually a pirate. I know, weird.
Mr. T
but-
versus the Ninja Pirate. Yeah, it's super cheesy up in here.
That should have been an episode, like in and of itself. But he wasn't like a pirate of the sea or whatever. He was actually a film pirate, and he was trying to get his hands on the movie that was being shot there because he was a stuntman for the movie before it even hit the cutting room floor for editing. This had the cheesiest cheeseball moment within the series that I can remember. Mr. T knocked a solid steel safe door off its hinges with a single kick. It was the kind of vault you would see in a movie in a huge bank for money, only it was in the hotel basement. I mean, he was always strong in the A-Team and everything. He's always known as a big, strong guy, but this cartoon made him superhuman, dude. It's a cartoon that I think, you shouldn't sleep on this for the cheese factor in and of itself. That cheese factor. You should embrace the 80s cheese and eat it up because that's what made it so weirdly fantastic.
Get yourself some
Mr. T cereal.
I was going to say, get yourself some Mr. T cereal and watch yourself some Mr. T.
Yeah. Actually, I did. I got some in a promo piece of art. I got some, and Jiggy's eating some of the cereal out of my bowl.
Nice.
My rating is 5 vaults of cheese.
5
full
vaults.
5 full vaults of cheese out of 5.
Well, if Mr. T's around, it doesn't matter. You can't protect that cheese. One kick
no,
and
it's his.
one kick and it's done.
It's his cheese, man. It's his. Mr. T owns that cheese.
Yeah, he does.
We're getting close to our 30-minute self-enforced time limit here. So just real quickly, Jamie, what's your last one? Just name it and rate it.
Yeah, so I was going to say He-Man because nobody can tell Adam was He-Man, even though he looks exactly like He-Man. Super cheese. That's He-Man yellow hair cheese is what that is.
He got a tan, right?
Yeah. And he dressed like in the foofy stuff. So yeah. He-Man.
My last one is Kid Video. I've actually talked about it in the past. It's a cheesy show that involves like cartoon, live action, singing, cartoons, this weird world that the kids get drawn into. So I'm going to go, that is Gouda cheese. So we'll go 3 slices of Gouda on that one.
That's one worth checking out, though.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
If you can find it, because with all
It's
the
hard to find.
licensing issues, you can't really find it. Yeah. All right, Cade, real quickly, tell people where they can find you again before we wrap up.
Yep. Thanks bunches for having me, Jamie, Milo. I really dig your show. your podcast and brand are authentically 80s and 90s. It's the two best decades in pop culture. And I loved your debate on Mumra and Skeletor, by the way. I really did.
Thanks.
That was very interesting. And if you ever need more Cartoon Commotion on your podcast, I would love to come back sometime and talk more tunes. You could find
Absolutely.
Cartoon Commotion on everything. We are a podcast and live show. We go live 2 times a month on YouTube and Facebook. Those episodes also get an audio-only podcast. You can find everything on cartooncommotion.com. And yes, that's commotion with 2 M's, but it's worth it. It's worth it, homies.
Yeah, it is.
We
and
keep
eat
it
your
unreal.
Mr. T cereal when you watch it. Do it.
I want to get some more, but I mean, if you get it off of eBay, it's probably not good anymore, right? I mean,
It's good enough for me.
Yeah. Still might
we
be
keep
edible,
it
though.
unreal, man. We keep it unreal. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks
for
for
coming,
joining
buddy.
us. That was a lot of fun. And with that, audience, we'll say we are out of here to go watch ourselves some cheesy animated cartoons. Goodbye.